Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hope you're doing well. We're continuing our deep dive into this radical feminist book. And it has been a roller coaster, right? And going through the abyss of her mind. But we have come out with a very accurate perspective of what it is they believe. No straw man's needed when we can see exactly what they believe. Okay. Let's begin. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Go ahead and listen to this as you are slicing onions, mincing garlic, baking a cake, you name it. That threat of abandonment is the ultimate tool of coercion. I mean, that is true. Yes, some men do use that card. Telling people that if they don't behave, nobody will ever love them is far more effective than threatening them with violence. Well, is it true though? Yes, you can't just behave badly and then expect love, right? Hold a gun to someone's head and you've lost the moral argument. No. What if I'm trying to find... let's take some funny video game examples. Let's say zombie apocalypse. I need to find somebody. Hey, you. Where are they? I won't tell you nothing. Okay, taking your fingernails. I won't tell you anything. Okay, let's play a game. Here's a revolver. Spin, 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 spin. Got 2 in there. Tell me right now. I'll tell you. Okay, you see? There's an angle. Just depends on what's the end. Eventually your victims will rebel. On the other hand, if you can convince people that if they don't act like compliant citizens, docile workers, or submissive servants, they will be alone forever. There is almost no limit to the concessions you can extract. So concessions? Okay, submissive servants, docile workers, compliant citizens. So I know she's using this in order to frame a woman as a sort of doormat. But the key thing, here, okay, that I'm noticing, if you're stuck with somebody and you're relying on them and you hate them and you just accept them, like there's no way out, there's no way to run, and they disrespect you, you have a right to self-defense, and you have to be able to have some type of boundaries, but you have to be smart. How does the snake move through the grass? It's smooth, right? How does the sharks go through the water? This tricky thing about some predators is their stealth. So when you're a woman, being docile, submissive, and compliant can also be looked at as stealth. Some women forget that. Stealth. Okay? And you can be a chameleon. You can harbor these feelings inside. Wait for the day you return to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for your recompense. But you try to make things as harmonious as you can. Sometimes that does require some repression. You won't always get your way, and sometimes you can dislike something about your partner, but you just have to cope. We can't nitpick too hard, and then when they do it to us, our psychology can break down real easy, because it feels like you're just constantly finding something to poke a hole in, right? And when you're super combative, that energy is reciprocated with the man becoming cold and indifferent. So if you're with someone who brings out your anger, you have to find a better coping mechanism. Now, being docile, it depends on the type of man you have. Some men, maybe they want a rambunctious nymphomaniac who's loudmouth and an attention seeker. These online game streaming guys, they're dating OF girls, sadly, right? So there are some broken, dysfunctional men who require wild women. But I'd argue that if someone is on a religious path and they want peace and security in the home, they do want a woman who is compliant and has a sort of hospitality, refreshing, endearing, approachable, right? Because a woman you can't outman a man. When you need to get physical with a killer, someone's trying to harm you, you turn beast mode. You unleash everything in you from a primal nature, okay? Eyeballs. I won't get too graphic, but you unleash by any means necessary to stop the attack when you're defending your life and your children's life. But if politics is the art of rhetoric and deals, relationships have a way of having finesse in them, right? You gotta map the mind of your man and be able to see what works. And that doesn't mean you're like, oh honey, you keep not paying the bills, so I'm just gonna be nice. No, that's quite different. But you decide what kind of relationship to enter into. Never forget. You asked for it because you chose to be in the relationship, and communication is key. So keep strong, If you can make love conditional on obedience, people will find ways to obey. Okay, so love conditional on obedience. Okay, key thing. Can love exist in a rebellious state? If you're rebelling, you're hurting me. How can I love you if you're hurting me? If you're causing pain, suffering, anarchy, disorder in my life, how can I love you? It's an unhealthy love. If obedience goes both ways, it's a bridge, right? Okay, let me rephrase that. The man is the leader, but what I mean is, in terms of obedience, is, hey honey, I really want to go out for this restaurant that I like. Do you think we could go? I've really been wanting it. If he says no, we don't have the money. Okay, but in the future, can we? Sure, sweetheart. Okay. Another example. Hey, I really don't like it when you walk on the carpet with your shoes on. Would you please wear house slippers instead? And then you can clarify. We don't have a lot of money to have the carpets cleaned all the time, so I really like clean carpet. It makes me relax. It's more hygienic. Please, can we do that from now on? Can we start that? And he's like, sure. That's a great thing. You see what I'm saying? He and if he tells you, hey, I don't like it when I come home and your friends are here and you guys are drinking. We're Muslims, we don't drink, but I'm just giving an example. And you're like, but I love my friends and I want her to come hang out and we're just having a good time. Like, yeah, but I like to come home to a quiet house and your friends are here and it's really not really. Do you think you could have them leave by the time I come home? Here's my time schedule. And if you're like, I'm going to do what I want, well, now you're being rebellious. You see? Another example could be, hey honey, you were out and I kind of was hoping that you were going to make my favorite chicken dinner. I didn't grab something from any to-go food because I thought you were going to cook and you didn't text me and tell me you weren't going to cook, so I came home and there's no food and you didn't tell me you wasn't going to cook. Could you text me next time and tell me you don't have time to cook so I could pick something up? And if you're like, you think it's my job to cook for you? Order DoorDash. It's like, he just gave you something that was like, hey, shoot me a text when you can't do something. You see what I mean? The little things you do for each other can help love come about. And women will ask a man for something like, oh, can we start, I don't know, something. A woman will say she wants something. The guy overlooks it, and then she asks for something else, he overlooks it. She keeps asking for these little things. He doesn't do it. She starts to feel she's not loved. When she feels she's not loved, she cuts off in the bedroom or isn't as excited for him with intimacy. Because her emotions not being met, and she feels insecure and upset and disturbed and resentful, right? So, if you treat each other with this mutual respect and honor and dignity, love has more conditions coming about, right? The conditions are being met and love is allowed to flourish because nobody is owed love. Love is conditional. Okay? Obedience in haram sin Well, no. But if it's something simple, you can compromise. Do that. Do that. I mean, us women, we put quite a lot of conditions on men. If a man tells you don't dress like that, and you don't obey, well, that can hurt. But if you'd say, honey, I hate that shirt you're wearing. I know your so-and-so friend gave it to you, but man, I really think it's ugly. Can you please not wear it around me? And he's like, really, you don't like it? And you're just like, yeah, I just hate it, please. And then he doesn't wear it. You feel happy, right? So it goes both ways. If you make submission the basis of self-worth, people will find ways to submit. Okay, submission, the basis of self-worth. No, you need to have self-worth regardless. Self-worth is separate from submission. As a younger person feeling trapped in a body that I was convinced was socially unacceptable, I sometimes slept with men not because I wanted them, but because evidence that a man wanted me seemed to renew my right to take up any space in the world at all. Yeah, you were insecure, and someone accepting to use you in an intimate way made you think that your body was okay. Tale as old as time. I wanted love, but I also wanted to be loved, to be found worthy of love by some man, so that I would be allowed to love myself. Isn't that what all girls are supposed to want? To be relentlessly, unflaggingly wanted by one man, to be purified by the act of reflecting their light back into the world? Well, you can love, but that doesn't mean they love you back. There's always going to be one who loves more in the relationship, and you can find other... When you have children, that's a special love that can't be replicated. There's fraternity, there's different passions and missions you have in life that you can love. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't grant true love to every woman on the planet. So you have to learn how to operate without that and to be content with your own consciousness. Know thyself. Perfect your shortcomings. Read and learn so that your brain always has something to think about, and have hobbies so that you don't feel sad because someone doesn't love you. Because there are orphans right now who will never have the love of a father or a mother. There are surrogates who are giving birth to those children, and 2 men or 2 women are adopting them, and those children will never have the nuclear family. They'll never have that special love of a mother and a father with siblings on the white picket fence. And the baby will have known that the woman who grew them just handed them away. That's really sad. Adopted kids have a lot of things they struggle with because they feel like they weren't loved because they were given away. But the drug addict parent says, well, I loved you, so I gave you away. It's something to think about. But don't expect to be loved by a man. Your love of your child lasts until they start to become a teenager. Then they turn into little monsters. So many of them. And you don't know if their love is gonna stay. But when they're small, that love is one of the most purest loves on this planet. That's why abortion is so evil. So think about it. But some man not loving you doesn't mean you shouldn't care about yourself. I grew up in the 1990s, the decade of stranger danger. Yeah, strangers are dangers, you moron. I remember picture books with reassuring fables about children who made good decisions on family holidays. I remember visits from local police officers telling us not to get into a weird guy's car. Are you saying that's bad, you stupid? Not even if he offered us sweeties. Yeah, you idiot, won't you watch more true crime before you sit there and think about getting in the car with some stranger? Stupid moron. The answer somehow was to practice a sort of auto-surveillance. Yes. Travel. This lady hates white people a lot, but why don't you go into some impoverished nations and see how it plays out at night? So this woman, again, she's complaining here about police officers saying, hey, don't get in cars with strangers, you stupid whore. Don't use drugs in an abandoned building with people you don't really know. Don't be naive and trust everyone you meet who smiles at you, because you'll become a true crime statistic. Cemeteries are filled with horrors of how people got there. But she's like, oh, women should, in the previous sections, we should walk, talk, and act like we want to get effed. And we should be proud to not be the good girl. So she's putting women in sexual danger. Now she's literally saying that it's bad that children were taught, especially young girls, to not be naive and keep their head on a swivel and have a security mindset, which is exactly what I preach. Clearly, this woman is broken. This is like her journal. And not to play outside alone. No, you shouldn't play outside alone, you idiot. You should have supervision. However nice a day it was. It doesn't matter on the weather. Your kids should be supervised. If there's a reason, don't be conspiratorial here, but if every time a kid went missing they publicized it, you would wonder. But they focus on Kim Kardashian's butt, Taylor Swift's stupid singing on the Super Bowl, whatever. They focus on nonsense, but if you actually saw how many kids are victimized, how many people are in prison for violent crimes against children, yeah, you'd see that, guess what, Buttercup? It's not smart. If you love your kids, you don't just say, yeah, go and be free. Yeah, some pervert grabs you, you're too tiny to fight back. Well, we don't want to be helicopter parents. This woman is trash. If a creepy man in a raincoat happened to accost us during a rare, unsupervised moment, we were supposed to shout loudly, I do not know this man. Yeah. Yes, obviously, you stupid idiot. Yes. If someone creepy comes up to you as a child, you don't come close. There's been 2 adults who tried to nap some kids not too far away from where I lived. Okay? Be smart. There's too many perverts. Too many. This filthy degenerate who wrote this book should start doing more investigations in crimes against children. There's apps that you can get on to see how many offenders are in your community. I don't think she's a parent, because no parent would ever mock teaching stranger danger. Maybe this lady just smokes too much weed and, believes in crystals, and that you just gotta have good vibes, man, and crime goes away, man, when the majority of the world has horrendous crimes. Horrendous. What nobody was telling any of us was what to do if the people who were supposed to love and protect us were the very people hurting us. Nobody told us that strangers weren't the only danger. I say that all the time. The fact that violence, sadism, and misogyny live alongside something that passes for love is a terrible, difficult thing to acknowledge. Well, I need something to drink. This woman, I think plenty of moms talk about, let me back up. My husband has told my daughter that we're always here for her. If something goes wrong in the relationship, how did that happen? I drank some of my juice and it came out of my hand. That's weird. That she will always have a place to go if something happens. Okay? And believe you me, I've talked to her plenty about the wickedness of women and men, friends, bosses, you name it. So don't include me in that category, lady. When it happens to you, no matter how many horror stories you have heard, you find yourself contorting into gymnastic feats of twisted logic, not to confront the damage, the danger, and the waste. It is so difficult to watch young women self-harming with love. No. Love isn't harm. No, that's not right. Don't do self-harm with love. If you love yourself, you won't harm yourself. Someone loves you, they won't harm you. You have to know how to cut that. If someone is making you do bad things against yourself and is hurting your psyche, you have to take that love and snip it. You have to be strong. That's not love. That's a parasitic sort of vampirism. That's not love. Love rejuvenates you and uplifts you. Anything other than that, it's taking away from you, crushing you. I have a friend who is entirely obsessed with the married lover with whom she has been having an affair for years. Wait, what? Your friend sounds like a whore. She's obsessed with the married lover, and she's been having an affair. Her life revolves around him, and so does our friendship. Every intimate conversation we have comes back to what he meant by that text, or why he's not been in touch, or what this intimacy was like, might be like, and whether she will ever be good enough, special enough, lovable enough to be his. Well, your friend's a harlot, okay? She should feel ashamed of herself for sleeping with a married man. She deserves to feel like she'll never be good enough because she's ruining another woman's wedding vows. She's committing a sin. Hashtag get the stones, alright? She doesn't deserve to feel lovable, okay? She should feel insecure. She should feel the weight of that sin twisting and twirling around in her head until it drives her insane. He's not been in touch because he's been with his family. You're a wicked woman, and who cares how you feel or how insecure and unhappy you are. And if he's cheating on his wife with you, then when he's married to you, he'll cheat on you with someone else, because a cheater's a cheater. Even when she's in the room with you, my friend often seems to be somewhere else, because she's with him, ruminating on it all, turning it over and over in her mind, wondering what he's doing, if he's thinking of her, what her future will look like with him. She has ceased to be able to imagine one without him. That is not his fault, except obliquely. Nope, it's not his fault. It's your friend's fault for opening her legs and getting emotionally attached to a man that doesn't belong to her. She's a toy. Okay? She's a toy. She's a side chick. Okay? The man is horrible for hurting his wife and risking an STD and pregnancy with this low-class trash. But she's sitting there going crazy and obsessed. Because she thinks she can steal him away. And she thinks she isn't just a plaything. Yes, some side chicks do steal from the main wife, but she's being used as a human fleshlight. Okay? She has lowered herself to the low status of being used for intimacy only. I don't get how some women don't realize that. You are here, his wife is here. He commits the sin which dishonors his wife, but his wife is first before you. Okay? When you're in love with someone in that fierce, remote way, someone will never quite be yours. It's not about them. Not really. It's about you and the drama of your own self-worth, which you've hung wholly on, whether or not they will ever love you like you want them to, like you need them to. You hollow out your life around the shape of them. Now, if you do that, you're obsessed. Don't hollow out your life like that. A man is at the focus. But if you're a side chick, he's not really yours. So you're the idiot. Like, if you're doing a long-distance relationship for a year, and, like, you're a single mom, and you have this potential guy, like, and he's just dragging you along for a year, and he has no real way to move in with you, and you him, and you're just talking on the phone, and you think you're special, you're just being used. You're hollowing out your life around the guy, and you have the amor de lejos, amor de pendejos. Like, you are just a thing. You're not a real wife, you know? So you need to build your life around someone who's living with you. Okay, in the same house, who's dedicated. You can't build a castle on sand and then get mad when it don't hold up. Hoping they will step in to fill that void with their brilliance, with their passion, with her great hair and lingering kisses, whatever it is that keeps you awake at night after night thinking, wondering, wishing you knew that magic word to say so that you could belong to them, so you could be precious enough to be theirs, because you want to be owned by them. You don't want to own yourself. The man, if this woman is chasing and the man isn't reciprocating, he's just, having intimacy, well, I want to put it in a vulgar way. Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. Okay, thank you for your, access to your body. But I'll text you next time I want some. Oh, I'll send you some stupid ass perfume. There you go. Back to my real family. It's sad how this happens. I think this is the good example is in The Sopranos. Tony Soprano dates a Mercedes car sales lady. I believe it's Mercedes. And she likes him, and she thinks she's kind of crazy because she keeps getting rejected by men. And Tony uses her, right? She has a big fight with him, throws a stake at his head, gets crazy. He calls it off. She eliminates herself, unalives herself. Okay? Yeah, he feels bad, but he's not going to leave Carmela for that. He's not going to tear apart his home for that. She was just good enough for the basic carnal desires. And yeah, Carmela gets hurt when Svetlana was the blonde lady. I forgot the name of the Russian girl that he was infatuated with. But either way, he never left his wife after all the times he cheated on her. And she tried to leave him, but she stayed after he intimidated all the lawyers and whatnot. And she didn't hollow her life around Tony. She built her life around her children and being a hospitable host. So she got into investing, remodeling a home. She had other hobbies. That's what you have to do if you want to survive a marriage that is struggling, is you have to have your life not be hollow but filled with joy, and children add to that joy. Men and women are different. But the side chick rarely succeeds in filling that void in herself. But there is something strange about how married men will attract homewreckers. In Islam, you're allowed to be polygamous, but if a fifth or sixth woman shows up and tries to tempt him, he cannot commit adultery. So he's got 4 wives doesn't mean he can have a side chick. Concubinism is a different topic. Having a slave that you're allowed to have intimacy with, different topic. But a woman who decides to be a side chick starts out thinking, I'm gonna get all this material stuff. But then she starts to wonder, like, okay, clock's ticking, he hasn't got me pregnant. Okay, I want him to be with just me. Is he gonna get rid of his wife? When, if you look at it, examine this. This guy is built, he has status in the community. He's committing a sin by having you as the extra woman. Okay? Now, there's the famous example of King Charles and Camilla, right? They said that he cheated on Princess Diana with Camilla. And I mean, Camilla, look at her. Princess Diana is like just absolutely stunning. One of my favorite women of history. Classy, graceful, just wonderful. Okay? Clearly way more valuable than Camilla. But Camilla has this reputation of being like the side chick who got the crown. Like, there's a whole lore and theories around her, but it just doesn't look good, and it's a stain to her honor and to Charles. And we value Diana because of the hurt she must have felt of that. And the side chick, the situationship type, they begin to go crazy. I mean, this in cinema, this has been documented, okay? Because it's true. It's true. They think the material items will protect them from their own emotions and desire to have a real family. Very cold women in the occult can achieve a certain level of shutting themselves off to where they're almost a walking corpse. They're a walking dead. But they become more and more dark in their appearance, and they lose their beautiful glow. And they start to turn very witchy. And the man starts to see this, cuts her off, and now she's no longer having as much sexual energy to play with, and now she's even more resentful and bitter. But it's the problem of her own making. You know, you can't be the side chick. You can't. It's really just a difficult path. Difficult path. If a man is established, married, they live in a house, have kids, and you as a woman think to yourself, I want to get in there and traumatize that entire household and steal that man away, and you think it's going to go good for you, you'll be a hated stepmother, okay? And he'll always know that you're capable of sleeping with married men, and it's harder for him to trust you, and that will haunt you, even if you change for him. That stigma will always be there, because he'll remember how he met you. He'll remember how you broke the rules. So, when she mentions her friend here, lovable enough to be his, no, you're lovable, but you chose somebody who was claimed. Alright? So, pick somebody who's single. There's tons of fish in the sea. But you're lazy. You're lazy. Alright? You can imagine your future with your Romeo by looking in the right places. If you see a field with wild horses, and you're like, I gotta go hunt that horse, gotta get it, gotta catch it, go after it. But if someone has a beautiful chariot, and you think, I'm gonna go steal their Clydesdale horse, and you're going up to it trying to take off all those things off the horse, and you're trying to steal it, and you're mad that you can't steal that horse from that carriage, that horse is claimed. You're lazy, you're a thief. There's tons of horses out there. Rodeo up, mount up, go get you one. Go on. But you chose to have one that was attached, that had baggage, that was claimed, that was trained by someone else. Shame on you. Hoping they will step in to fill that void. No. The fact that it never happens, the fact that they are never quite accessible, is part of the addiction. It's the core of the compulsion. You feel their absence with everything you fear, everything about your life that hurts, everything about yourself you hate, and nothing else is quite as important anymore if you can wrap your hurt and terror around this man and what he means to you. Nothing else matters. Well, she seems to, this is where religion comes in, because there's haram and halal. And when you stick to that and you discipline your urges as a woman, you can succeed. You're not going to succeed as much when you are doing something that is quite vile. Quite vile. Something that's going to boomerang back. You know, you don't know if that woman will go crazy and, get a lighter and there goes your mansion. Don't do that. No. There's nothing worth that much of a risk. Find a man who is single. But it is true, some women, they want what someone else has. And they don't want to work and hunt and search and for the man they want, and they don't want to adorn themselves or go to the right locations where they're going to meet the one who will want them, claim them, right? And they don't like being alone with themselves. So her friend is the problem, not the man. But she's framing it as the man is the problem, right? Heterosexual relationships are the problem. She's framing it as that. Funny, she sees her friend as a victim, but not the wife of the man. I noticed that as well. No mention of how the wife must feel. It's a dirty deed what the man did, what he's doing, clearly. But her friend is a psycho, and her friend deserves her mental anguish, because she is harming another woman's household, okay? And she's like a thief in the night. She's sneaking around, doing all that stuff, And sometimes these women get the man that they want. All the mystique is away. Now it's time for chores. The allure is gone because there's no more sneaking around. And then imagine the man knows that. So why would he risk it with you? Some men know. This chick only likes me because of the excitement. Your wife likes you because she is invested in you. You built a family together. And she's not going to walk away as easy. Whereas the side chick who you've committed sins with, she has an easier way to run away from you and leave you because her morality is broken. Because she let you do that. So she's broken. So why would I drive across a bridge that's collapsing? Right? I'll find another route. The man is sinful for keeping that broken woman on a hook. But he'll cut his losses. You know, once that fish don't want to be on there no more, just cut it off. He'll have his wife and everything else. They're weighing up pros and cons. There's more cons to going with the side chick. Because she's broken all these rules, committed mass amounts of sin. She'll be a thorn in your side. Your wife will hate this woman because she'll find out eventually that you left her for the side chick, and now your kids find out. You've ruined the relationship with your kids, so this side chick is nothing but a burden. And your business partners, your community members, your parents, they won't welcome her because they see her as a threat to other women's husbands. She'll be ostracized. So once your ex-wife tells all the women around, that's the one who stole my husband, that lady who's a homewrecker, few women will want to be like, she's capable of trying to steal a married man. She's a homewrecker. She has low morals. She doesn't understand boundaries. She has no fear of God. I'm going to stay away from her. And then the wives will tell their husbands, I don't want you talking to him because his bad habits are going to rub off on you. And then some husbands who are smart will say, if I associate with this guy, I'm going to have problems in my home. So I might as well just cut off this guy so I don't have problems in my house. Why should I have a problem with my wife because this creepy guy couldn't keep his household and dirty laundry together? You see, the woman will cause a huge ripple effect. Whereas, if she's contained to the back alley where she belongs, then his dirty laundry is kept secret. And he maintains a whole different facade of smoke and mirrors. He brings her out of the smoke and mirrors into the forefront and takes his decent wife who has a good reputation in the community, puts her aside, destroys his home, and brings up, like scooping up this like garbage covered woman out of the gutter and says, this is the replacement. You take down the trophy off the shelf, put it away, scoop up this, baggaged, infected, immoral person and say, this is the new standard. You look like a crazy person. Because the men understand you were using her for lust. You strung her along too long. Now you're going to keep her? No. So, that woman has made the mess herself. She pooped in her own nest, as they say. So you can't just blame the man here, like, oh, well, she hauled out her life. She didn't have to do that. She chose to go after a married man. She chose to not discipline her urges. Okay? She chose to call the man to sin. She insulted another woman by disgracing the sacredness of the marriage bed. She hurt another woman and pulled that man to sin and caused herself to sin. She has only brought negativity to her existence. Do you see what I'm trying to say? That is the problem. She's obsessed and she's broken. Utterly broken. Just think about it. For an affair for years. This man has strung her along for years. And the woman is so dumb that she hasn't realized if he actually wanted you, it would have been done it. He would have been done it. No. And if she keeps thinking about the intimacy, like, oh, that makes me so special, it doesn't. Because if you were special, you'd be first, not last. ruminating on it all, turning it over and over in her mind, wondering what he's doing. He's got her waiting on him like a sloppy dog. That's pretty funny. So she's the beggar. Oh, please, give me attention, give me attention. She's covered in sin, covered in muck, covered in brokenness. Okay? She's radiating negativity to her utter being. And she's lost in her own fantasies. And she isn't pulled down to earth and shaken up and being like, what are you doing? The earth is vast. Find someone. Let yourself be claimed or hunt for what you want. You don't get to have the saddled horse. Get your rope. Go find your mount. And her future, what her future will look like with him is the same. Meeting up in hotels, wasting her time, and when her new husband finds out that she was sleeping with a married man, imagine, would you want to marry a woman who let a man sleep with her for years while he was married? So think about this. She's hurting herself all the way around. So is the married man. But I'm focusing on the woman right now. Her husband, if he finds out there's dirty laundry, would be like, I can't believe I married a woman who did something like that. Or if she finally finds her giant whale and she wants to start with him and leave the adulterous relationship, and she wants to be with that new guy, he could have thought she was a 10. Now her sin has lowered her to be like, this is a risky investment. Why would I want to build a family with somebody who let a married man play with their mind like this and dishonor them? If she's capable of that, what else is she capable of? Next. So she's ruining her own self. She's not really thinking about her future. She's just stuck in the power of lust. And that's what's pathetic. She's quite a loser. Quite a loser. This is why women have to be able to take cold stone truth. Because if they don't allow truth to be spoken, they're going to be like that lady. Quite ridiculous. Quite ridiculous. Let me know what you think. And it's a tough section, but nonetheless, something to be discussed. I am also fundraising for a bookshelf, book holder thing, and like a bookshelf blocker panel for privacy. And I'm doing that via my blog. There is a tip function, or if you just join for $5, that helps. And I'll let you know when I get it. And so far, I haven't really got even halfway towards the goal. So if you could help me get that, that'd be great. Because I don't believe in using a credit card for that. Doesn't make sense. And the interest that would be paid would be too high. So please help me with that. And I'm not monetized, so every little bit helps and I appreciate it. And I'll see you next time.